So I came to GIESORC 17 years ago. I was the founding director. I was not the first person to work in an administrative capacity in the center.
I had visited the center when I was the hall director here, and then I came over as I was student development coordinator. So I worked with programs for students, and Melinda Husky was the director then.
The GLBTA Center was a lot like the ethnic multicultural centers, and the environment felt like the other centers. It felt safe. Students joked, hung out, slept, worked, did their homework, whatever it was, had meetings, and also planned for events to highlight and celebrate, and also to remember the various important dates at that time.
Most of our students were engaging in the coming out process, all of that exploratory self-discovery, reaching out in college. And so we didn't expect to see students much when they were freshmen. We figured they mostly came to us in sophomore year. Maybe through that year they came out and were doing some of that identity development work.
I would have to say I probably came out to myself when I was around 16, and it took me a few more years before I was ready to really start accepting that. But I kind of found out what transgender was and meant around that age when I was about 16.
I always kind of knew, but never really admitted it to myself until like junior high. I mean, because I would always chase the girls when we were playing tag as much as I would chase the boys.
I kind of liked guys, and then one day I meet this girl at some random beach party, and I was like, whoa! And that was in middle school. But I didn't come out to myself until maybe my sophomore year of high school.
The wall that faced into the hallway of the lower level, it was like a big window, and then on the outside of the center, that wall was also these big windows like we have now. So the students are in a fishbowl, right? And climate was a lot different back then, so it wasn't uncommon that people would walk by and stare into the center to see, who's there, and it was just, students really felt on display. Well, I remember once the students cut out all these different fish and underwater scenes and stuff, and painted that, and attached it to the windows because they were in the fishbowl.
So the very first Lavender graduation was very small. We had maybe 6 students graduating. We had it was a brand new thing. People weren't really sure what it was. So we had a bunch of allies and staff and folks turn out, but not a whole lot of students. And we had ordered a cake, and it was supposed to be a rainbow cake. And we opened it up, this huge sheet cake, and it was, the only way I can describe it was toad colored. They had taken the rainbow colors and put them all in the airbrush and just sprayed it. And it was reptilian. It was the most repulsive thing I've ever seen. Happy lavender graduation, and it looks like khaki vomit on the cake.
I think that having a center like GIESORC on campus is important because students need a space where it doesn't matter how they identify. For some students, they haven't had the ability to talk about what it feels like to have a first crush, or to talk about when did they first know that they were lesbian or gay, or if they're trans, where do you find resources?
During Week of Welcome, GIESORC kind of paired me up with Tyler. I'm pretty shy, so having someone like that kind of a connection where I knew that was good for me. I needed that at the time.
I heard about GIESORC before I even stepped on campus. I'd been researching schools that were LGBT friendly, and I noticed that WSU went from a 3.5 star one year to a 4.5 star the next year, mostly because they really expanded on their policies for gender identity and expression.
I like the kids. I like them a lot. Very talented. Some of them had extreme hardship that just eats your heart out to hear. But my role is to listen, and if they need anything that I can help them with, I will gladly do it.
I think we spend a lot more time focused on trans issues now, because those have sort of moved into the limelight as having that sort of more complex, not without the same degree of social support or understanding. We're still building that connection for trans students, and so that's more of an issue. But also we deal now much more with sort of established identity issues. So we're doing more relationship coaching, more career planning.
Where we're here, we establish ourselves, we have kind of the kind of programs that we do. We've established that we have Labrador graduation, we establish speaker series, we do trainings, you know, all these different things. People know that's what GIESORC does. And so now we're at that point where it's time to start transforming. It's not enough to just go with the status quo. It's time again to think about, what does that mean? And it's not enough to know that we were the first. It's not enough to know that we're ranked in the top 50 or the top 25 or wherever we get ranked. So I think that transforming place where we are now it's exciting, it's scary, but there's so many possibilities. We can do so much. And so thinking about, what do we have that we do really well, and then let's build on that and do it even better, and not just for our community, but really let our work shine into the community and beyond.
I'd just like to say thank you to all the people who helped make GIESORC the amazing place that it is. I know that everybody does such a great job behind the scenes, and it's just such a wonderful place to have, and I'm just incredibly grateful to everyone for giving us the opportunity to have that space.
I don't know, I'm really glad, I'm really thankful that the university that I've chosen to come to has a center like the GIESORC. And the fact that it's been around for 20 years in like the Palouse in the middle of Eastern Washington. I mean, granted, we are a Pac-12 university, but the fact that this resource is here, it's present, and it's available to anybody, whether you're a student or even just someone in the community. It's great that for 20 years this resource has just been available.